Hello, everyone. My name is Kwame Ross, and today my message is called They Are Destroying Our Black Sons. Now, if you have been following my channel, you know I made several videos over the course of a week. It started with my son getting arrested, and he was taken to a psychiatric hospital where he was held. The Department of Children and Family Services here in Cuyahoga County in the state of Ohio had filed for, an order to remove my son from my custody and regain temporary custody of him, which will actually be an order of a permanent custody or full custody within the week or so. This order was filed by Jason Vincent, the supervisor who was handling my case, and he's the one who actually gave the testimony in court regarding my son. Now, they ended up winning. And I will tell you a little bit about this court trial. The allegations were brought up by the Richmond Heights Police Department because they said that my son had brandished a box cutter and threatened a child. Now, what had actually happened was my son had somehow found a box cutter on the ground. He'd gone to the school library, which is like just a couple-minute walk from our home, and it's right next to the school. And as I explained in there, he was alone. He's a 15-year-old boy, and I allowed him to go to the school library by himself. There's no supervision. Usually the children are there by themselves. The library is right by the school, and the kids usually hang out at the library, and they're there, and they're fine. I did not feel the need to tag along with him and supervise him at this library because he's been going there every day with no problem or issue. Now, there was a girl who was basically teasing and saying things about my son in school, going around the school. I kind of summarized this in other videos, calling him names, and he had gone to the teacher to get help and get it resolved, and I guess apparently no one did anything, so he got upset, found a box cutter on the ground, said he was looking for this girl. He went to the library and talked to some friends and showed them this box cutter and said he was going to do something to her. So the kids, I guess, ran into the school or the library and told, a staff or someone, and they contacted the police, and the Richmond Heights Police Department picked my son up, took him to a psychiatric hospital, and they said they're going to charge him with, I guess, some type of crime because he caused panic. They call it that he caused panic. Now, the Department of Children and Family Services was called by the University Hospitals of Cleveland, the same exact scenario that happened prior years ago. My children were taken out of the home. Same situation, same three entities involved. And, they contacted them, and the supervisor, Jason Vincent, had, went forward with, I guess, getting order to take custody of my kid. They felt that he needed to be removed from the home. For what reason, I'm not sure. They said that they felt that I did not take his mental health seriously and I was not getting him the help he needed. So my son ends up back in the system because we had a court trial, which was a couple of days ago. And during this court trial, it was basically a one-sided trial. We have rights to a fair trial, but, in my opinion, it was not a fair trial at all because I did not get to say a word. I did not get to contest any of the allegations. It was mostly just Jason Vincent saying whatever he wanted to say about me, making claims that I have schizophrenia, making claims that I did not get my son the mental help he needed, making claims that my son had a severe mental health problem that he needed to be in a group home again. And there he just spoke whatever he wanted to say. The person who was supposed to testify on me, my lawyer did not make it. I had a public defender who did not show up, so they gave me a Garnett Lightham who asked three questions based on my behalf and did not call me as a witness, did not call anyone else as a witness to witness for my son. See, the thing is, my son has good behavior. This was something that was out of character for him, and none of that was explained in court. They did not call any witnesses such as teachers or anyone who could back up and contest to the fact that my son is a good boy or my son doesn't have any behavioral issues and that this stemmed from certain problems or anything. None of this was brought out in court. It's just whatever Jason Vincent said basically about me, that's what stuck. So I want to explain something to you. A lot of you might not care. You might think, oh, my son is just unruly and messed up, and I'm just trying to minimize, like they like to say, I minimize his mental health, minimize my mental health. The thing is, there's an agenda out to destroy our black sons. And this has affected a lot of black children all over America in this country. If you think about the days of Emmett Till, there were lies placed against him. All they had to do was slander his name and say whatever they wanted, and there was no fair trial against him. He was actually destroyed and killed. He lost his life over that. The same thing is happening with my son, that's happening in a different light. Now, there was no need to take my son out of custody. There was no need to take custody of him and take him out of the home and keep him away from his family. When he was in the hospital, Jason Vincent filed an order with the hospital and told them to not let me even speak to him over the phone or even visit with him. So I hadn't been able to see my son since he's been in the hospital. It's been almost 2 weeks. Now that they went ahead and put him in a group home. I contacted the supervisor yesterday. He told me my son was in a group home. So he said, oh, he will allow range for visitation within a week after we have a meeting. We were supposed to have our meeting on Tuesday. Now, keep in mind, I haven't talked to my son in all these days. So imagine a child, once again, he's supposed to be a child who's special needs. He has a disability. He's dragged away out of the home, possibly facing criminal charges, put in group home once again after coming home. He can't speak to anyone in his family. They won't let him speak to his mother. They won't let him speak to his grandmother, his siblings, or anyone. And now he's going to go to court. I didn't know anything about the court date. I had to contact the court myself. They said the court date would be sometime next week. I contacted the court date. They said the court date is actually today. It was a day away. When I contacted them, they said, oh, the court date will be tomorrow. That's actually today. So now my son's going to go to court and they're going to testify on his behalf. He's not going to have any witnesses there for him. He's not going to have anyone there to advocate for him, to speak up for him. They're just going to say whatever they want, and then they're going to charge him. And so this is the game that they've been playing for many years. It's the same demonic spirits that's been working to keep black men in captivity from the beginning of time, since slavery. And this is how they operate. They want to keep the family separated so the child has no one to advocate for them or stand up for them. They want to label them as a criminal that needs to be locked away. My son did not. Yes, he did say he was going to do something. He did not carry out any of those actions. We don't know if he would have carried them out or not. He did not hurt anyone. He did not attempt to hurt anyone. He held something in his hand and he showed a friend and he said this is what he was going to do. Yes, they told it was the right thing to do. But the thing is, my son is now being stripped away from his family, completely taken out of, my rights for him has been completely taken away. He was not given a fair trial. I was not given a fair trial. We have no one to stand up for us. And this is how they do it. They put you in a corner where you have nothing. They go out there and target people who have nothing, who cannot stand up for themselves, so they can brandish our men criminals and lock them up in the system. I already spoke in another video and said that my son was a targeted child. He'd been targeted since he was younger. When it started with they saying he had behavioral issues. When it started with, him having headaches every day and him going from being a bright, intelligent child to all of a sudden he can't learn, he can't concentrate, he can't focus. He's getting up and running around and not behaving. So now they feel the need for him to have help and services. And this has been going on. Now, see, I can't say much because they target me. They put me in a mental hospital and had me arrested because of things I was saying. But really, all this was about was they wanted to silence me because I had been speaking out and exposing truths, and they target people. If you look at it, the history is the same. They've gone after people before who spoke out. They either had them arrested, they had them put in criminal hospitals, or somehow these people suddenly committed suicide and they're no longer alive. So this is the thing that I'm dealing with right now. And there are demonic spirits behind this because these are spirits that are operating in people whose ancestors did the exact same thing. And since these people did not change their hearts, they did not repent, the same spirits are allowed to take over them and make them behave in the same manner. Now, I've cried out for the church to help me. And the thing is, when you sit here and watch these videos and you're being held accountable, if you do not pray for me and you're not helping me, then God's going to hold you accountable because we are responsible for our brethren. When your brethren cries out to you for help, you are supposed to help. Yes, you might be scared. But the thing is, I was afraid also. But when God told me to help his children, I had to get up and help. I couldn't make any excuses. If God is telling you to help, you know in your spirit, he is telling you and urging you to help, you're supposed to be obedient. Now, God is fighting my battles. I believe that he is fighting my battles. But the thing is, this enemy is out on an agenda to target my son and destroy him. He's done this to many black sons. They target mostly black boys. If you look at the male justice system, the criminal juvenile system, you'll see it's mostly black males, mostly those who come from a low socio-economic demographic, those who are in poverty, those who come from impoverished lifestyles. And they want to make it seem like, oh, these parents are so neglectful and they can't take care of their children. But they deem us worthless. They deem these children worthless because their parents are in this situation. You have no right to deem what you want over any creation that God has created because God can turn that person around for anything. Doesn't matter if they're on welfare or not. He has use for every one of his creation. And this is where man is going to be judged by God because out of their wicked hearts, they have devised this scheme to lock away and imprison and destroy certain people and keep them from thriving on this earth based off what they feel about them, based off how they feel that these people are irresponsible or worthless or insignificant and trivial to this earth. And that is not right. God has put value in every single person, even that little boy who's growing up in a house on welfare, even that little boy who has a parent who's missing or not in the picture. He had purpose for every single person walking this earth. And for you to sit here and stifle that purpose by locking these children up, not giving them a fair trial, he's going to judge everyone. And this is what I said before. He's going to be judging these judges and magistrates, these attorneys and prosecutors, these case managers and social workers, and all these people who have done this. The thing is, it is a wicked, destructive agenda and that nothing has changed. Like I said, it's the same single thing that's been going on back in the days when our civil rights leaders were fighting for the freedom of us, for the black race. When they are putting our young boys in bondage and killing them without having them a child. They have even given death sentences to 14-year-old children. It is the same wicked spirit, and it's not going to stop until people start repenting and acknowledging their sins. I have been praying and going against this by myself, singularly fighting, but they have backed me to a corner. They have taken everything from me financially. They have destroyed my vehicle. They have done everything in their power to completely condemn me and make it seem like I'm just some psychotic mother who had no control over her children, and that is completely false. And everyone who has talked to my son has said he was a good young man. They had no problems with him. This was the destructive system that they had put out to label my son a monster and put him behind bars. This was the agenda from day one. And I have been fighting. Now I'm asking for someone to stand up for help, whether if it's you issue or utter a prayer on our behalf or even send money, because we have no money. I cannot even get adequate legal representation because I don't have the money. And the people I have contact refuse to defend me. I'm trying to reach those other organizations that are not in this state who can stand up against these wicked agencies, because it is wrong what they are doing. And just because I'm targeted today, who knows, your son and your family might be targeted tomorrow. So you might sit here and dismiss this and not care, but you never know. They're targeting. No one is exempt. They're targeting and mostly going after black young males. They're going after Christian families and people who are in impoverished situations. Those who don't have much money. That could be you. The thing is, people always cry out when it hits them. They don't care when someone else is hurting. Why wait till there's a tragedy? Now, when my son ran away from that group home last night, and the thing is here, they said he broke into someone's home. I don't know if he was trying to seek trouble or trying to seek help to get away. My son could have gotten murdered. It was only the hand of God that was on him. So you put him in this environment. I would have held Children and Family Services accountable because, first of all, you put him in this group home that's obviously not secure. How is it that he was able to get away and he's in this group home? You took him out of my custody, but you're supposed to put him somewhere that is more safe for him. As you say, it wasn't safe for him to be at home, but you put him in an environment where he can actually run away and be out on the streets and manage to break in someone's home. This is all a planned agenda. They never meant for my son to be in an environment where he's safe. The thing is, they wanted him to run away. They wanted him to be caught by the police so they can have something else to put against him, so they can set him on a path to go to juvenile detention center, which will later turn into jail. And this is why so many of our men are in the system and in jail now. It's only by the grace of God that some people have been spared. But God has allowed our family to witness this ugly side of the justice system and everything that's happening, because he wanted to open my eyes so I could spread awareness. Now, I've spread awareness. My eyes have been open. And I want my son released because it's wrong for have his life destroyed for all of this. There are so many young males out here. I've been praying and doing everything I can to send awareness, but people sadly do not pay attention, do not care. They're selfish and their interests are only just based on frivolous, dumb, petty things. Like I said before, during the Oscars, Will Smith smacked Chris Rock when everybody talked about it. Everyone in the world was talking about this. That's all you hear when you go on social media. That's all you heard about when you talk to somebody on the streets. But did this kind of stuff get attention? They want to dumb you down so you can look at stuff like that. That's what they want you to focus on. They don't want you to focus on things that really matter, like what's going on right now, how they're destroying the black race, how they're destroying our youth, how they're out here destroying Christian people, how these agendas are coming forth, all these demonic agendas to destroy the families. They don't want you to know about that. And sadly, people are only focused on what they want you focused on. They have you programmed. But they'll say, oh, I'm crazy. They'll say, oh, I have schizophrenia. They'll lie and pink slip me because they don't want the truth out here, because there are people who out here who truly know what's going on. And they're trying to do everything in their power to silence me. They've taken my children from me. They have fought against me. All of it has been a violation of my constitutional rights. All of it has been illegal. Everything they've done to us. Like I said, my son, what juvenile court is going to have a child sit here and no one represents him in court? He has an attorney that sits here, does not fight for him, does not argue against it, does not send any witnesses in support of that child. But you say whatever you want to condemn that child, and then that child is sentenced at the hands of one man. How is that a justice system? How is it a justice system when they can come here and make all types of slandering lies about the parent, and the mother can never contest to say anything in court, and the attorneys never speak out on her behalf when she doesn't even have an actual attorney representing her, but a guardian ad litem who's actually paid by the courts? So they're all against the mother. Their entire agenda is the same, to take the children from the parent so they can have that child entrapped in the system. And I've talked about this in so many videos and no one will listen or help or say a word. Now, I am trying my best to get recognition. My son did not deserve to be taken out of the home. And I want to save his life because I don't know what's going to happen next. I really don't know. I don't want to get a phone call one day and say my son ended up dying in prison or my son was murdered on the street somewhere. And no mother should have to deal with that or worry about that. Now I'm asking those of you who are sitting here listening, who have a heart, whether if you have a family or a child, imagine if this was happening to your family, you'd want someone to help you. Now I'm asking you to please stand up for our help and help us, whether it's just spreading this video to get recognition, saying a prayer, or donating some money to our cause. And that's all I had to say. Thank you.